Hey guys, welcome back. Let's get into the Monday, May 19th action in the MLB. Three best bets. We're going to run the 12-game slate, kind of recap what we had over the weekend. Really exciting time within the Preakness, as well as a couple things going on. Scotty Scheffler, congrats on another major as he took down the PGA Championship. And it was a great day. A couple game sevens within the NBA and the NHL on Sunday. So hopefully you all enjoyed yourself and weren't like me. A little too much golf. Got my eyes a little watered down. The allergies right now this time of year have been absolutely insane. So for those of you thinking that I got hit in the head with a shovel, that's not the case. It's just some allergies I'm working through. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get into the picks. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. We're going to run the board, and there's a couple games that I do want to kind of feature outside of my three best bets. So there'll be a lot of information as we work through this all. Let's get into the plays. We will use Outlier to look into this slate. If you guys aren't using Outlier and you do bet props, MLB, even all sports, but MLB really with the any kind of long season really definitely does give you an advantage. In my personal opinion, do not overpay for props, right? There's no reason to be betting minus 150 when you can find minus 115s out there. Just there are some rare circumstances, but the cool thing and why this is a paid premium subscription is that it does allow you to find those super fast, so the books don't have a lot of time to change those numbers, as well as it puts you right in front of them in the first place by a lot of their research and analysis tools. So check them out. 7-day free trial down below in the description. If you don't like it, cancel at any time. Okay, this is where we're going to get into the first game, and coincidentally, the first play of the day. This will be as we look into the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. For those of you that watched the Battle of Ohio, as we had the Reds and the Guardians squaring off for the Ohio Cup, was one where I haven't seen it in quite some time. For some reason, I will tell you guys, being from Ohio, I do follow and track that. And for some odd reason, if my memory serves me correct, it ends up always being a sweep. Okay. So in this weekend series, the Reds took down the Guardians 3 games in a row. So I think that you can look at the Guardians and the Padres and the Dodgers as being kind of the hey, what were you guys doing since Friday kind of teams. But nonetheless, I digress. Let's get back into it. The Reds, though, I do like them in this spot. They stay hot under Nick Lodolo, Mitch Keller. There's a lot of trade talks about Mitch Keller possibly on the move for the Pirates, and it's very unfortunate because with what we've seen with Paul Skeens, very dominant pitcher, allowing 1 run to the Phillies. But that's what I mean, guys, and that's why I usually use the Paul Skeens narrative as we cashed that ticket yesterday. I usually go against it, and if you look at my record throughout the course of the season, I don't track it per specific versus specific pitching or pitchers, I should say. But I will tell you guys that I have faded Paul Skeens probably in the majority of, if not all of his starts, and that has been a profitable venture, okay? And if you're not going to fade him in terms of the other team, you know, there are ways to attack it. It's just kind of like taking that very public football team that's always going to be a heavy favorite, and it's just never usually a very profitable venture. But same thing went for the Reds Pirates, the Phillies Pirates. You're going to get one. You're going to get no runs. So that's kind of where I'm at. If you don't get run support, it doesn't matter if you're throwing, Nolan Ryan and Paul Skeens are throwing 2 balls at once. You have to score to win the game, okay? And that's kind of where you look for the Reds here. Traveling to PNC Park, where the ballpark does give a little bit different of a handicap than pitching on the road, but I still think Nick Lodolo and the Redlegs stay hot. One of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team, the kickoff the month of May to go alongside probably the Minnesota Twins, okay? So that's where I'm at. It's just too cheap of a price. It's a sucker bet probably as you're staring down the barrel. You get a little cheaper price on the road money line price here. But yeah, Reds stay hot, minus 118 there on the money line. Best number I found was on FanDuel. Cubs Marlins, we do get Brown going against Cabrera. This is a great spot for the Cubs. I like Cubs team total. A little travel spot, minus 175, a little bit too much to lay, so we will pass on that. But if I was going to approach it, Pete Crow Armstrong, a little PCA. If anybody wants one of his Bowman first, I have a nice one of him. Please reach out. I have that one ready to move as he kind of a long shot to win MVP. that's a really good futures ticket. Okay, so I do like some Cubs team total, some Cubs props going against the Marlins, going against Cabrera, but nothing where I'm going to get involved from a betting perspective. Okay, Mets Red Sox. This game kind of screams over for me. The Mets on the Subway Series and going against the New York Yankees was one that did not kind of, I don't want to say it did not deliver, but it kind of didn't. All right, it was kind of a nothing burger there as the Yankees took 2 of 3 from the Metropolitans. And, Sunday Night Baseball, everybody was all, probably not tuned in. I think a lot of people had their eyes focused on the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, at least north of the border, and condolences for the Maple Leafs losing another Game 7. Not to get too much hockey talk, but Brad Marchand, that's one of the best betting trends right now in hockey, as well as Paul Maurice in Game 7. It's very fascinating if you are a bettor or a hockey aficionado. Not saying I know everything, but it has been a fun sport this year to track nonetheless. But as we look into the Yankees and the Red Sox, the Metropolitans and the Red Sox, this is how it kind of correlates, okay? New week, fresh start. You do get a shorter porch there with Fenway. I think that does play a role within the handicap. I just don't trust the Mets bats. One thing I do kind of favor here, you can look into and I will kind of pull it up on the board here because I think that Pete Alonso is one of those players right now that we have to kind of target in on. And looking at some of his numbers here, I'm going to pull up, and I know this is going to go a little bit off script, but I want to show you guys some player props here. I do think that Rafael Devers, little Rafi action, is starting to hit the baseball really well. I don't want to count too much Soto for or against. A little emotional series there. I expected him to show out against his former club, but I want to talk about Pete Alonso here, and we're going to look into something here in terms of I really like the doubles prop, but there's something about Fenway that I do have to bring into the equation, okay? And as we look for hits, runs, RBIs, and forgive me, but here we go. All right, so this is one of the bets I do like making more times than not. 1.5 price vary accordingly. A little bit anticipation, right? He's only hitting 40% of the mark over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, but that's a big tag there for somebody like that. And the one thing I wanted to share with you guys is if you're looking into total bases, if you're looking into RBIs, Fenway does play a role. I think that he is live for a home run kind of issue. And I want to show you guys something that, this is something great about Outlier. Okay. You can have all the data right there in front of you. He's been on a little bit of a home run, a little bit of a dry spell here. So in his last 20 games, he's only had 3 home runs in 20 games, and I want to share with you guys kind of why this is relevant, okay? And it's ballpark dependent. 1 at home, but they were both against Arizona, and this is something where he's not hitting a lot of fly balls, okay? In the last 20 games, he's averaging 0.6 fly balls per game. That's something that is a very strong data point, but I just have this weird feeling that he's going to hit one, and it's more so because of the Green Monster. So I'm not going to bet it, but a lot of you guys do play little lottery tickets there with home run props whatsoever, a little bit. I don't personally, but Pete Alonso right now at plus 360. I think that's just a little bit of value you can grab here over a home run. And it's one of those bets where I think he gets one in this series. So it may not be today, but if you want to do kind of average it out, small unit plays, I think Alonso goes yard here against the Red Sox at Fenway. But that's kind of where it leads me into the way I would approach this game. I like the over, okay? And it is going to be a little contrarian play because of the Mets. But you look at the Red Sox games, you go back and you look at kind of how they fared against Atlanta, against Detroit. These games have went over the total significantly, okay? Last 5, 14, 13. We had an outlier with 6 at home, but that was, I think, a little pitching dependent, but also 11, 19 against Detroit. I mean, these totals are soaring, all right? And this was a bet that really, quite frankly, almost made my card over 9 at minus 115. Definitely something that is a very strong lean, Mets, Red Sox. And the one thing about this one is Kodai Senga for the Metropolitans. I think he really does inhibit the Red Sox bats. 1.02 ERA, 4-2 on the year. That's why I'm going to stay away from it. It's not an official play, but I do see some runs in this series between the Mets and the Red Sox, okay? Astros and Rays. That's the next game on the card. The Rays have been kind of doing their thing, and the Astros continue to remain one of the hardest teams to handicap in baseball, right? You love their lineup, great star players, great pitching, Cy Young candidate right there with Hunter Brown. Dating back to last year, probably the most dominant pitcher, one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball. And this is kind of where you look for the the Astros and the Rays. Kind of where we're at here. Over 9 is a total. I probably would lean under. You look at the games in Arlington, Texas versus Houston. You had 7, 6, and 9 respectively. But this is something where Tampa Bay, right? 3 of their last 5 did not surpass 6 runs. You had 1-5, 4-0, 4-9, 8-3, and 1-3 against bad hitting ball clubs. That's kind of where you look into this game. 9 might be a little bit too high. Not too in love with the pitching matchup. Ryan Pepio, 2-5 on the year, 4 ERA roughly. This is something where I wouldn't go in this game, but I do think that we will get under the total in a couple of these matchups. And personally, I would lean towards the side of the Tampa Bay Rays, 21-25 on the season. If you do want to back Pepio at home, -134 is a little too juicy for me, so I don't really have an edge, so this will be a pass, but I wanted to talk about this game because it is an intriguing midweek series. Okay. Baltimore in Milwaukee. This is one where, hey, let's just call it what it is. Baltimore is probably the worst team in baseball right now. +100 on a short road price. You do get looking at this matchup, Dean Kramer going against Priester. If Baltimore was going to break out, which we've had a lot of these matchups where they have had the game teed up and just did not deliver, okay? And that's kind of where it leads me into this argument. Milwaukee here, -115 at home, going against an Orioles team that has been abysmal. This is definitely something where I would fade the Orioles once again if you wanted to get involved, but for me, no official play, okay? Excuse me. And if we want to look into the betting splits, you can kind of see how the money has shifted a little bit on the money line. There's really no clear-cut way of looking at this other than an over, potentially. And that's kind of how it stands here in terms of an edge if you wanted to look for one within the handle and the public money. All right, Cleveland and Minnesota. This is one where we do have Allen going against Bailey O'Bear. Bailey O'Bear has been hot. Minnesota short, a little too short of a price here as the Guardians have dropped 3 straight. O'Bear, 3.72 ERA, 4-1 on the year. This is something where I would definitely look at Minnesota -1.5 at +165. That's probably how I would bet the game if I was going to bet it. No official play for me, but if I was, I would lean Minnesota -1.5 at home. Okay. Seattle and the White Sox, very intriguing matchup. The Mariners did exceedingly well against the Padres over the weekend, and now they travel to the Windy City to take on the Chicago White Sox, who, for all betting purposes, they have been kind of delivering offensively. Little sneaky team there, and you want to talk about kind of why. Seattle's been playing good baseball in terms of pitching, right? Holding their opponents to 1 and 2 runs respectively in their last 5. And Chicago, they've been getting, the Cubs kind of took care of them 6-2, 7-3, 13-3. So maybe not as offensively as I look for, but in terms of hitting the baseball, at least Robert has done some damage, but it's just, the pale hose, if you will, just not the team that you kind of expect them to be. I mean, but what could you expect after the 2024 campaign? Definitely on the fade train, and I do like Seattle quite a bit, but at -$2 and -$2 plus, there's really no way to get involved. I'm not too confident with them on the road at a -120 price. However, that would be kind of how I would lean in that direction, possibly even Seattle team total over. Martin has been one of their bright spots, so 3.65 ERA throughout the course of this campaign. This is a no play for me, but I would look Mariners run line and possibly team total if you were to get involved. It's just nothing really with an edge, so I'm going to stay away from this one. Okay, next game, Detroit and St. Louis on the board. You can look at this game from a couple different viewpoints. No name pitcher for Detroit yet, but I do think that Detroit, in terms of the money line, is the correct side. Just kind of betting on their offense to deliver. You can see it right now at a +140 price going against Sonny Gray, who has a 4-1 record on the year. So keep that in mind. Cardinals play a little bit better at home, in my personal opinion. But the Tigers here, I think at +140, it's hard to pass up that money. So I would lean Tigers, but no official play. Philadelphia and Colorado. Very similar matchup to the handicap that we just did with the White Sox. Colorado has been absolutely abysmal. I've looked, I probably spent about 20-25 minutes trying to find an angle in this game that I would approach. A couple of players that I would target. Nick Castellanos in Colorado, potentially a home run candidate, potentially over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs. I do like Ezequiel Tovar for the Colorado. He hits lefties very well. Christopher Sanchez pitching for the Phillies definitely does give the Phillies the edge, and at minus 250, I mean, how else would you kind of spell it? Okay, but on the run line, minus 164, that's probably the best way to handicap this game. I'm never going to get involved with a team total over 6.5. That just really leaves no room for variance. And the Phillies, if they do kind of have a nothing burger, but I do think this is where we get a lot of runs from the side of the Phillies, a lot of offense. So that's something how I would approach it. Kyle Freeland on the bump for the Rockies, definitely a fade candidate, 6.15 ERA, 0-6 on the year, and that's kind of how I spell out the game. So there's really no way to bet it other than the Phillies minus 1.5, just no value here at minus 164, but I do like Tovar and Nick Castellanos in terms of prop markets. And if you're desperate, you want to play this game, I probably would recommend the Phillies team total. It's just there's really no edge there at over 6.5 runs, okay? The next game that we will have an official play in, this will be Kansas City and San Francisco. As we look at the Royals, a great pitching matchup too. Robbie Ray going against Bubic for the Royals. Both of these pitchers collectively, 1.66 ERA. Ray has a 3.04 ERA, also getting it done, 6-0 on the year. I think this one goes under the total. They're in San Francisco. That's a little bit different than if they were playing in Kansas City, but I think that both of these teams struggle to score runs. So at minus 120, we're going to take a stab at the under 7.5. That will be an official play for me in this contest. Okay, we'll save the last official play for the end, but the next one that we are going to talk about, Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. Okay, Logan Knack going against Brandon Pfaadt. You can look at the Dodgers. They got swept by the Angels, so tip of the cap for the Halos out there. But for what we're looking at here, plus 110 on the money line. I'm sorry. Plus 130 for the Diamondbacks on the money line, and that's kind of where a lot of bettors are going to lean to, but it is very much a cheap price if you are looking for the Dodgers to bounce back. Dodgers not to bat in the ninth would be how I would approach this game, but very hard to bet against the D-backs here, the way they've been swinging the bat, and the Dodgers, they've been faulty a little bit, so not going to get into that conversation. I know a lot of people there in the comments were saying Dodgers the most overrated team in baseball. Well, hey, 29-18 on the year, World Series odds-on favorites for the futures market. It's a long season, guys. It's a long season. We're only 47 games in entering today, so please keep that in mind. Just a little bit over 25% of the season has been completed. So if you are going to fade the Dodgers, I just highly not recommend that at home. Statistically, that just will not be a winning proposition, and that's kind of where it would lean me to the Dodgers not batting in the ninth. Eventually, they will kind of end this streak of not winning, but call it what it is. I mean, if you want to ride the hot hand and fade kind of what we're seeing in the market, the Diamondbacks here, plus 130 on the road, definitely a very favorable spot as Arizona took care of business against Colorado. They were able to win one against San Francisco. I just think personally, the Dodgers, they've been losing, but they've also been scoring. So the only really one that does kind of stick out was that loss against the Angels. They only had 2 runs, but look at their last 5, right? 9-19 against the Athletics, and then obviously they had a 4-9 spot they put up against the Angels as well. So it's just kind of what it is. I would not fade the Dodgers at home. I think that they do snap out of it today. I like the Dodgers to win the game. If I was going to bet it, I would take Dodgers to not bat in the ninth, okay? But no official play. And the last game on the card that we will have an official play in, it's going to be the Angels and the Athletics, right? The Athletics are in Sacramento. They're in that small ballpark where the ball seems to carry out a little bit too much. We're going to go over 9.5 at minus 112 on DK. Looking for the Angels bats to stay hot, putting up 6 runs and 11 and 6 respectively against the Dodgers. This is where I kind of look at the argument that you can be made that the Angels stay hot. They hit the ball well. Going against a pitcher within, I think, JT Ginn, 4.61 ERA on the season. Soriano 2-4 on the year for the Angels. Not anything flashy on that regard, but I do think the Athletics, they do hit the ball better at home. I think that's where we're going to lend towards this handicap. We're going to go over the total 9.5 at -112 as my last official play. Okay, appreciate you guys. A little longer of a video here. We went into a lot of data, but I appreciate everyone that did tune in and stuck around to the end. We'll do a quick recap of my best bets. The 3 ones that I will give out: Cincinnati on the money line, -118. We're going to go Royals Giants under 7.5, -120, as well as the Angels Athletics over 9.5 at -112. That will be my 3-pack on the day. Good luck with your tickets, everyone. If you haven't done so, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Join us right here at TBM Sports. Appreciate you all tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow in the next video. Cheers.